Training camp report why Jake Haener still has a shot at the Saints quarterback one job. Hold on. Just hold on a second. Off the bench, Jacob Hester, Matt Flynn. Let's get right into it.
Saints camp yesterday, and some initial thoughts. The 32nd ranking when it comes to the roster, that was kind of like on my mind, and so I'm like, all right, I want to see, like, am I going to be
how bad
moving them
can
up?
it be?
So, and the thing I kept coming back to is when they roll the first 22 out there, it's definitely not 32nd.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at what I said before training camp. Let's just take a look. You'll remember me saying this. But I said once camp starts, once the players are on the field, all of this, like, I want the team to tank, or 2 wins, 3 wins, or this team's not good, or this is a bad team, or the 32nd team in the NFL, all that's going to go away. Because the newness, the adventure, the excitement, all of that's going to take control. And really quickly, obviously it's going to start locally because that's who's watching practice. But once the regular season hits or preseason hits, you're going to hear it nationally. And all of a sudden it's going to shift. And we're going to see this team be what they are, which is an exciting, rebuilding, young, energetic team. I mean, I am on a different freaking level. It's unbelievable when this kind of stuff happens. This was the most obvious thing ever, was that all these rankings came out. Everything was doom and gloom. Everything was 32nd overall. Everything was Saints so bad, don't even think about it. Everyone was saying the same thing. Anytime everyone is saying the same thing in life, you got to start thinking, well, maybe there's something to it. Like, maybe there's something to the other side of this, right? And there was obviously something to the other side of this idea that the Saints are as bad as the 32nd team by a runaway mile. Now, let me preface this, or preface, as some of my friends would say. I've had a few commenters be like, James, listen, bad news, man. Bad news, brother. The Saints aren't going to be great this year. You're on the hopium, you're on the copium, you're pumping, you're dumping, whatever. I have the Saints winning 6 games. Remember, my schedule prediction we've done, and we'll do another one before the season, was 6-11. All right, I don't think the Saints are going to be great. My whole argument this entire time, and continues to be my argument, is that the Saints are not runaway the 32nd team in the NFL. They are not, roster-wise, no matter how you look at it, they are not, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst team in the NFL. They weren't even the worst team in the NFL last year. All right?
Like, they got some Jimmies and Joes in that first 22. Like, they really do. Like, the offensive line, now moving Penning to guard, looks impressive. You had the first receiver group out there.
Better look impressive.
They continued to make plays. Like, Olave, Spencer Rattler hit him on a deep go for like a 60-yard touchdown. They come back. Rashid Shaheed runs a deep out. Throw it right in there. Toe taps on the sideline. Rashid Shaheed caught a corner route. Toe tap, took a hit, held on to the football. Like, Brandon Cooks made some play. You see it. AK made 7 or 8. Like, the fact that he is as smooth and as fresh as he looks at 30 years old at running back is incredible. And I know, like, he's done a nice job of taking care of his body. He's had some situations where he's had, like, he's the thunder and lightning kind of situations with Ingram and others, but he doesn't look like a 30-year-old running back.
Yeah, the guy's
like,
smooth.
He's
man.
very smooth.
Do y'all not remember last year? He looked great last year. At the beginning of last year, I even said, I remember sitting in the stands in the Superdome, sitting there saying, like, man, like, this is the best I've ever seen him. Like, he looked incredible. Everything was there. Like, his ability to make people miss in space, he was just electric.
And so, like, all of that is great. Even on the defensive side, like, the first 11 out there, like, Brian Brzee was very active. Cam was very active. It's like, okay, I can see this team being okay. The South's not great. They can be competitive.
Well, okay. I mean, pack it up. I mean, like, sometimes people just got to see it with their own eyes. You know what I mean?
Where I get worried is when they blow the whistle and here comes another unit. Mm-hmm. And probably more on the defense as a whole, but certainly like the skill position and really more the receivers. Because actually
yeah, I mean, for sure. And, last year we know how shallow the receiving group was. This year, not a lot has changed. Like we didn't do a lot in the wide receiver room this offseason to where we would fix some of that, right? So, yeah, that absolutely is a concern, is the depth there. And depth is a concern everywhere. Every team, okay?
Saints running back room, like they kept rolling guys in there and guys kept making plays. Like I was watching 101 pass protection and AK had a great rep. Cam Akers had a great rep. Clyde stoned the rookie linebacker from Oklahoma, Stutzman. Like they all looked great in pass protection. And 101 routes on backers, running backs kept winning over and over again. So like that's okay.
Yeah.
You're so thin at receiver though. And again, you got Chris Olave with concussion history. You got Rashid Shaheed that's had, some hamstrings and different things going on in his career. Brandon Cooks has missed time certainly in his career. So it's going to be one of those deals where, and it hasn't happened in a long time, but if they stay healthy, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got a couple-year plan here. And I think last year, I believe they went into the draft ready to attack certain positions. And just the way it fell, I don't think we were able to attack like the defensive line like we wanted to and wide receiver like we wanted to. Good news is there's another draft coming up, right? There's another offseason coming up. So just like in 2016, 2017, where it was kind of a 2-year plan as far as bringing in all these players, I think that's how this team looks at it. Where they look at it like, all right, look, we didn't get blank, blank, blank this past offseason. That's what we're going to prioritize this upcoming season. So if they bring in another 7, 8, 9 draft picks, and all of a sudden, instead of taking an offensive lineman in the first round, you take a wide receiver. Instead of taking a quarterback in the second round, you take a defensive tackle. Like, okay, then you combine the two draft classes, and you can kind of see this giant breadth of young players come in and start checking some of these positions. As of right now, for sure, there are still positions that are lacking as far as like depth and whatnot.
Well, the fact of the matter is they're not going to stay healthy.
I know.
I mean, nobody
That's
is.
the problem.
No, there's not one position group in the NFL that's going to stay completely healthy. For 17 games, you're going to have to rely on somebody. You just hope that there's not multiple people at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the term for that in the betting industry is cluster injuries. And cluster injuries, an injury is always going to happen. Like Matt said, everyone's going to be hurt. We're all day to day. One injury to one player isn't worth trying to predict or whatever. Cluster injuries is where you start to see an issue, because cluster injuries is when you have multiple injuries at the same position group, which is what the Saints had in multiple position groups last year, namely the offensive line and wide receiver. When that happens, you're in a really bad situation. Right, so like let's say the Rams. If Puka Nacua gets hurt, okay, that's bad, obviously. But what's really bad is if Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams gets hurt. All of a sudden, then you have a real cluster injury problem on your hands. Just kind of show what I'm talking about. Like let's say Puka Nacua gets hurt. All right, that sucks. But let's say he gets hurt for 3 weeks. All right, well, Devontae Adams just becomes your 1. Tutu Atwell becomes your 2. You start to kind of figure things out for a couple of weeks. All right, like we can elevate whoever, Jordan Whittington or Xavier Smith or whatever to your third wide receiver. And then at that point, Tyler Higbee really is your third wide receiver. Okay, maybe the running backs now. We can make it happen for a couple of weeks. But if you get that cluster injury where Puka and Devontae are both out, all of a sudden your wide receiver room is Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, and Konata Mumpfield or Xavier Smith. You go from, okay, we can figure it out, to far and away the worst wide receiver group in the NFL. So, and that's what happened to the Saints last year, where there's a big difference between losing Chris Olave, but then losing Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. The Rams, studs. Like with Puka Nacua, with Devontae Adams, they're ready to roll. You got to feel like this wide receiver room is real good. But you take them out of the equation, and this wide receiver room is this is a way worse wide receiver room than Ohio State. All right, this is a way worse wide receiver room than Clemson. All of a sudden now you're rolling out like a mediocre college team. Same with running back. Kyron Williams goes down. Okay, Blake Corum comes in. We believe in him, whatever. They both go down. Okay, now you have Jarquez Hunter as your starting running back and Ronnie Rivers getting the spell reps. So cluster injuries, there is not a team in the NFL who can survive cluster injury. It just doesn't happen. No matter how good your front line is, no matter how good your backup is in some situations, a true cluster injury situation will cripple any team in the NFL.
And especially for multiple weeks. Like you can patch weeks together with different game plans, with utilizing tight ends. Maybe we utilize running backs a little bit more. You can patchwork. And that is the job of an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator in the NFL. And you see it all the time. That's what kind of separates a lot of times these playoff bubble teams from making it to the playoffs and not. It's like which coaches got more out of their roster.
Yeah, but and also which ones do get lucky to stay as healthy as you possibly can too.
If you get lucky to stay as
to win a
those are usually the top teams.
To win a championship, like even the best teams have to have that injury luck.
For sure.
Yeah, there's stats that track this. So you have snaps lost from your first line players on your depth chart. The 49ers last year were the highest lost rep team, and they struggled. Usually the teams who are inverted, usually the teams that lose the least amount of reps from their first team, usually those are the teams who make runs in the playoffs or win the Super Bowl.
Sure, and those are the top teams that have both the coaching, the luck, and everything. I'm talking about teams that deal with injuries but still find their way to scrap into the playoffs.
Right.
Find that 10th.
And the roster was set up to do so as well.
Yeah.
You drafted well. You got some young guys waiting in the wings. You maybe signed like a free agent tight end that was under the radar that can come in for 6 games and give you some starter. Like they don't have that.
You just can't have what happened last year when you have 4 receivers out. You have a lineman now. You have running backs out. But I also question last year what was inspiring enough about the team to fight to get back on the field.
Yeah.
I know there's some things you can't come back from, of course. But, like, if you're a vet, a little nicked up.
You're week 15.
You're week 15. Everybody's out, and nobody's like, we just are.
Which I'm not built that way.
Well, yeah, at that point, the season's over.
Okay, but.
No, but.
I would go out there.
There's business decisions made on every single team every single week. I get it. But, yeah, I mean, you say that the starting 22
is going to be competitive. They're going to be competitive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And they should. And you said the offensive line better look good.
Yeah.
Got
4 first-rounders and a second-rounder.
Yeah. They better look good.
Yeah. No, it's very fair. But Penning's a guard. He's not a tackle. He can't play in space. He can't live in space. In fact, his demeanor doesn't scream tackle. Like, he doesn't ever.
It's kind of funny. He's the opposite of Brian Brzee. Brian Brezee's problem when he gets to the interior is that he wants space. And Brzee doesn't like that, phone booth kind of interior defensive line world. Penning likes it. Penning wants that. He doesn't want space. What we've seen this offseason, or this training camp, is they've brought Penning in to that phone booth, and they've taken Brzee out, and they've given him one-on-ones in space, and he's looked really good in a pass rush situation.
Need to be on an island. He's too aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he tries to attack too much at tackle.
Yeah.
He tries to jump.
That's why he's always on the ground. He's always on the ground because he's attacking too much.
A pass move, and then you get into trouble. Then he ducks his head. Then the guy gets past him.
Tackle's a counterpunch position.
Yeah.
It's a patient position. You let the guy move. You react to it. And You take what he does and you use it against him. It's the ultimate use their momentum completely against them. Wash them out of the play or anchor them. Like if they try to bull rush, you anchor them. They try to swim you inside, you wash them inside. They try to swim you outside, you push them out. You push them as deep as you can behind the quarterback. So it's tackles a counter move. Guard and center, it's a first strike. It's like Cobra Kai.
It's exactly, it's what it is. And you can be aggressive and you have protection on both sides. Mm-hmm. So that's why you can be more aggressive. You're never on that island truly by yourself. Like very rarely will you have much space. And so those are the things that I think, are going to improve the offensive line. But again, they got to stay healthy. The depth on the team, like some of the backups are just not experienced, or they're guys that were drafted high other places that they're seeing if they can get the most out of them, and it's just that there's nothing in there. Mm-hmm. Like the fumes are almost gone, and so that's going to be important for them. And like Flynn said, and we all kind of know, like it's almost impossible to stay healthy in an NFL season for your team. But
I don't worry about injuries at all. Like I think injuries are very overplayed. It's one of those things where it happens or it doesn't. And if it does happen, you're cooked. If it doesn't happen, cool. Like any team, like we can sit here and say, well, I mean, I'm kind of concerned because, if Jalen Hurts goes down, or if Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown go down, or if Lane Johnson goes down or whatever, like if that happens, then, we're kind of, I don't know, man. I just don't know if whoever the backups are can come in and be at that Super Bowl level. Of course they can. The season is cooked. Like, yes, hey, Bengals fans, if Joe Burrow gets hurt again, you're cooked. I don't care how good the backup is. I don't care how prepared you are. You're cooked. It is what it is. And Joe Burrow has a history of injuries. Do you go into every single season saying, well, what if he gets hurt? I don't think you can. It's one of those things where in every sport, it happens. You hope it doesn't, but it's like an unplannable. It's completely unplannable. I don't think you can put any stock into injuries.
For the Saints to have any life, to do what we want them to do, which is just make some noise in the South, they have to stay as healthy as any team, I think, in the NFL. And yesterday, and I mentioned they were kind of rotating a little bit because I talked about Spencer Rattler. Like he had a great. Got the ball, had some pressure off the edge, stepped up, stepped out, hit Olave on a 60-yard in-stride pass. And so, he definitely had some good moments. But yesterday was Jake Hayner's day to be the starting quarterback.
Before we get to the quarterbacks, I do want to ask about, from the receiver standpoint, Rashid Shaheed. How did he look as a route runner?
Good.
Pure.
Great question. I've talked about this a little bit too, where the idea of Rashid as a 2. My concern was, well, he hasn't really shown his ability to run these routes. He's shown the ability to run these go routes and whatever, but I haven't seen enough from his route tree to be confident that he can run the short to intermediate. Is he just truly a burner? Seems like now he is way more effective running the full tree. Some digs, some outs, some ins, whatever, kind of playing the short, intermediate, and of course he's got the long stuff. So yeah, hearing that is great because that's what Kellen Moore is going to do. He's going to do way more of that crossing, mesh, short to intermediate, whereas Clint Kubiak was way more play action deep, and Derek was way more of a go route, fades, whatever.
Route runner. So I know he's got the over the top speed. He's got that home run ability. I saw some clips yesterday where there's an incomplete. Spencer threw one down the sideline on it was either a fade or a go route. It was kind of like an intermediate go route, and it was incomplete because he had done I'll tell you, it was a sluggo. So it was a slant go.
Yeah.
And he did a really poor job
selling the slant.
No, he sold the slant okay. Kool-Aid made actually a really good play on it. I was pretty impressed.
All right, Kool-Aid.
All right, watch out, Kool-Aid. But what Rashid.
I'll tell you something else that seemingly we don't have to worry about in training camp or the reports is Quincy Riley and Kool-Aid. Apparently they are sweet. And we've been hearing a lot about every other position group, but I've been hearing nothing but glowing reports from those two.
What he could have done, he should have close the distance between them so he could stack them on top.
Right.
Like he didn't. He kept the distance between him and Kool-Aid. Like people think when you run a go route or a lot of times running routes, like you want to separate yourself. Not necessarily. When you catch a DB in transition, you actually want to get closer to him so you can drive him inside and then separate. You create this opportunity for the ball to fall.
I know what play
over.
you're talking about now.
Yeah, and he batted it down, and I thought that was a really good coaching probably rep for Shaheed to learn from that one. But a good play by Kool-Aid.
And you could tell that they're actually coaching him up on that, because I saw a really good deep out where, because he is so fast, if he's pressing it vertical, you're scared to death.
Is it the one where Shuck threw it?
No, I think Spencer. Oh,
Shuck threw the out route, and it wasn't a very good throw.
okay, no. So this wasn't it.
That was the high out route where she got clipped.
Spencer threw this one because it was right on the sideline. It was a toe tap.
Yep.
But he did a really nice job. I forget. I think it was Taylor that he was working against, and he pressed him. I mean, it looked like he was about to run a go, and then he put his foot in the ground and went just right to the sideline. He didn't drift. He stayed on that plane. Caught it, and that's what you can when you have true game-changing track speed. Like, those are the type of routes you have to be able to run for it to matter.
Yeah, that's the big, like, one of my key things for the offense is, of course, the ability to get Shaheed involved because of his deep threat. But if he can improve and become a really good route runner, that's a dangerous man.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
And so, like, I'm as ugly as watching him run around in number 22. Like, if he can run pretty
what's wrong
route
with 22
at receiver.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like Emmitt Smith running out there. No, I'm not hating on 22.
Dang, I thought 22 is a pretty sweet number.
Like, I completely forgot that his jersey number was 22, and I was watching the clips. I was like, "Who's this running back, dude? Who's this running back?"
He wore 80 something when he first got there, but he wore 22 in college, and he switched back. But
I didn't even know.
Great former number 22, not for the Saints, but just in general. I think he was 22. Dexter McCluster. Someone double check me, but Dexter McCluster was a fantastic 22. If he did wear 22, I might have been wrong there.
Receivers could wear it.
Well, now, like, it basically doesn't matter.
Really?
In the NFL. Yeah, you can wear 1 through 49 and 80 through 89 at receiver.
Just the receiver position?
No, any position.
A quarterback or 49?
I mean, if you want to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end the video there. They're about to get into Jake Haener talk, which I think is going to be a totally separate conversation. We're already at like 25 minutes, so I don't want to, but I don't want to just get lost. We'll do a separate video with that. But there you go. All right. Saints are looking better than people thought at training camp. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Buy a freaking mug. Boom. Right there. Mugs. A lot of people are sending me pictures. They've received their mug. A lot of people are saying great packaging. My packaging team, I'm very proud of the work we've done. A lot of bubble wrap has been in the studio. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.